My soul, where are you? Do you hear me? I speak, I call you. Are you there? I have returned. I am here again. I have shaken the dust of all the lands from my feet, and I have come to you. I am with you. After long years of long wandering, I have come to you again. Should I tell you everything I have seen, experienced, and drunk in? Or do you not want to hear about all the noise of life and the world? But one thing you must know. The one thing I have learned is that one must live this life. Do you still know me? How long the separation lasted? Everything has become so different. And how did I find you? How strange my journey was. What words should I use to tell you on what twisted paths a good star has guided me to you? Give me your hand, my almost forgotten soul. How warm the joy at seeing you again, you long disavowed soul. Life has led me back to you. Let us thank the life I have lived for all the happy and all the sad hours, for every joy, for every sadness. My soul, my journey should continue with you. I will wander with you and ascend to my solitude. The highest, most decisive experience is to be alone with one's own self. You must be alone to find out what supports you. When you find that you cannot support yourself, only this experience can give you an indestructible foundation. The fact that a man who goes his own way ends in ruin means nothing. He must obey his own law, as if it were a demon whispering to him of new and wonderful paths. There are not a few who are called awake by the summons of the voice, whereupon they are at once set apart from the others, feeling themselves confronted with a problem about which the others know nothing. In most cases, it is impossible to explain to the others what has happened, for any understanding is walled off by impenetrable prejudices. You are no different from anybody else, they will chorus or. There's no such thing, and even if there is such a thing, it is immediately branded as morbid. He is at once set apart and isolated, as he has resolved to obey the law that commands him from within, his own law. Everybody will cry, but he knows better. It is the law. The only meaningful life is a life that strives for the individual realization, absolute and unconditional, of its own particular law. To the extent that a man is untrue to the law of his being, he has failed to realize his own life's meaning. Somewhere right at the bottom of one's own being, one generally does know where one should go and what one should do. But there are times when the clown we call I behaves in such a distracting fashion that the inner voice cannot make its presence felt. The majority of my patients consisted not of believers but of those who had lost their faith. I am looking forward enormously to getting back to the sea again, where the overstimulated psyche can recover in the presence of that infinite peace and spaciousness. The sight of a child will arouse certain longings in adult, civilized persons. Longings which relate to the unfulfilled desire and needs of those parts of the personality which have been blotted out of the total picture in favor of the adapted persona. I am no longer alone with myself. and I can only artificially recall the scary and beautiful feelings of solitude. This is the shadow side of the fortune of love. Faith, hope, love, and insight are the highest achievements of human effort. They are found, given by experience. I don't aspire to be a good man. I aspire to be a whole man. Children are educated by what the grown up is and not by his talk. The girl dreams she's dangerously ill. Suddenly birds come out of her skin and cover her completely. Swarms of gnats obscure the sun, the moon, and all the stars except the one. That one star falls upon the dreamer. The fool is the precursor to the savior. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. Life has always seemed to me like a plant that lives on its rhizome. It's true, life is invisible, hidden in the rhizome. The part that appears above ground lasts only a single summer. Then it withers away, an ephemeral apparition. When we think of the unending growth and decay of life and civilizations, we cannot escape the impression of absolute nullity. Yet I have never lost a sense of something that lives and endures underneath the eternal flux. What we see is the blossom which passes, the rhizome remains. People don't have ideas, ideas have people. Wherever we give up, leave behind, and forget too much, there is always the danger that the things we have neglected will return with added force. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. The wrong we have done, thought, or intended will wreak its vengeance on our souls. A creative person has little power over his own life. He is not free, he is captive and driven by his daimon. I have treated many hundreds of patients, among those in the second half of life, that is to say, over 35. There has not been one whose problem in the last resort was not that of finding a religious outlook on life. It is safe to say that every one of them fell ill because he had lost that which the living religions of every age have given their followers, and none of them has really been healed who did not regain his religious outlook.